Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. Let's face it, waiting is hard to do when you want something to happen and when you're looking to experience a particular outcome. It's a challenge that I know I still struggle with at certain times in my life. And cultivating patience regarding divine timing for things that happen in my life, it is a constant lesson for me to learn. And I know I'm not alone in needing to learn that lesson. Patience, waiting, I got to learn that lesson. When we want something to happen, there's an excitement to it. Sometimes there's a desperation to it. Sometimes there's an anxiety to it. But even if there is angst, we latch on to that thing as if it will bring meaning and value to our lives. And it can be a thing, it can be a person, it can be an outcome. And we're willing to attach so strongly to that thing that we become singularly focused on getting the outcome we want. It's like our mouths begin to salivate, imagining the taste of our immediate need being satisfied, and we become in truth addicted to that feeling of satisfaction, right? Again, I don't think I'm alone in experiencing that. I think everybody experiences that. We attach like this with a hunger, no matter how great or small for a person, a thing, an experience, because we need to constantly feel like our life is compelling, fresh, invigorating, and exciting. That new car, that new house, that new relationship, that new job, that new piece of clothing. We get so attached to how we believe our lives will benefit from that thing. We attach even more to that thing and with expectations of what it will bring us. And I've talked before about really what underlies our expectations, what underlies our desire to have that car, that house, that relationship, that job, that piece of clothing, that this, that, jewelry, whatever. It's not about the thing, because things don't bring us anything. It's the desire to have a feeling, the feeling that we want from the things that we have, right? So if you have expectations, right? I don't know about you, but every single time I have put expectations or had expectations about how somebody was supposed to be, about how a thing was supposed to turn out, about an outcome that I hoped would happen, I would hinge my happiness on those expectations. So expectations cause us disappointment and pain when they're not met. I need you to hear that. Because we put expectations to everything all the time. And we screw ourselves when we do that. Again, you're hinging your happiness on an outcome, regardless if it's a person, place, or thing. So what about the times that you dreaded something happening, like when you're waiting for test results in school, and you fear that you might have not done as well as you wanted to? What about waiting for results from tests about your health, or when you're waiting to get a job or a promotion, or to get entry into the next chapter of your life, maybe school or training? Waiting during these times can be utterly excruciating. Again, attachment to outcome, having expectations is a sure sign that you are hinging your happiness on whether or not you get what you want. The title today is Every Worth Has a Weight. As you look back on your life, you can recall those moments in the hallway. Time seems to pass so slowly when one door closes and another one opens. Sometimes those things happen quickly, but most of the time we are ushered into that hallway of life. and we need to wait for the next door to open. Time seems to pass slowly in that hall, and your mind may race about what might happen, especially as we all do. We wonder about how are we going to handle and respond to a whole new slew of outcomes where we don't even know what's going to happen, that uncertainty. I talk about attachment and expectations because it is so important for everybody to realize when you have them, and you have them a lot, we all do. Expectations are tantamount to holding your breath for an extended period of time. You can't be in the moment. You can't think of anything else. You can't do anything else because you're in a state of anticipatory anxiety. Anytime you attach to an outcome, anytime you have expectations. But what if you allowed yourself to breathe through the wait? To breathe in the hallway? What if you gave yourself permission to open yourself up to an even better pot of outcomes, better choices, better options? You know what? The universe is magical. And sometimes we're in the throes of difficulty, or when we're in fear, when we're in worry, we can't think of all the times that the universe has provided even better for us. Surprised the shit out of us. I know, I look back on my life, I'm like, oh my God, you know what? I can't believe that happened. It was better than I could have ever imagined. But that's the universe. The universe always knows better. Can you try to put yourself in a place of, I know I'm struggling. I know this is hard. I know the hallway's hard. I know all I want to do is just know what's going to happen. But even if you did know, I mean, it's not like you could influence what could happen if you knew about what would happen, because the universe is still in control of that. Right? You plan and God laughs. That's the thing. So what if in hard times, in the unknown, in the uncertainty, you allowed yourself to say, you know what? Okay, I know Spirit, God, Source has got this. Always have. I'm going to lean into that. And what is meant for me will happen. And I can handle it. I can handle it. What about that? I want you to try that on. What if you practiced optimism in the face of stress or fear, like I just talked about? I know it can be really hard, especially when you're waiting for results that can significantly impact the quality of your life. We all hold our breath at those points. But if you remember, I quoted Seth Godin. And he said, the most important trait to have was optimism. What if, you cultivated optimism? And I strongly encourage you to do that, because without it, you can't consider possibility. Every single time that I have been waiting in the hallway when one door closes in my life, when I experience tower moments, talked about those too, that are unexpected and that kick my ass, screw up my life, break my heart, cause me grief. I'm angry, I'm hurting, I don't want any of what's happening. And I come out of it because I'm in that hallway working on my stuff. My life is exponentially better for having gone through the pain. It always is, because Spirit always realigns me and you with what matters after the wait, after the grief, after the loss, after the hurt. We couldn't possibly know the depth and breadth of the goodness in our pain. So every wait has a worth. This is the value. There's value in being put on hold in your life. Like I said, because the universe is aligning things in your favor, just not on your timeline, and definitely not on your agenda. None of us could possibly predict what we're going to experience in our lives. I know this from year to year. You can't possibly know the highs and lows you're going to have, right? What lessons you're supposed to learn, who's going to come into your life, what you're going to lose, what you're going to gain. Our souls know the grand plan, but when we incarnate, we hit the delete button on our soul's memory bank so that we can finally learn what we're supposed to. We're not supposed to know, otherwise we'd just move the hell away from any kind of pain, because who wants to feel that? The waiting is where the good stuff is. The waiting is where the work happens. The hallway is where the divinity is. If after something happens that shows us, like I said, where the magic is, pain sucks and no one wants to experience it. Yeah, I mean, that's really the only way we truly learn, though, is through pain. And through pain is how we figure out how to change our lives so that we are living up to our fullest potential and calling in what we deserve. Joy and happiness highlight the sweetness in life, but if we're honest with ourselves, those moments, right, they're really not what make up the majority of life. Joy only occurs to balance out the bad, and there's a lot of bad shit that happens. It kind of serves as like giving us a breather from doing all the hard work that we do as humans to level up. Every wait has a worth. There is value in waiting. There is wisdom in waiting. There is growth in waiting. There is expansion in waiting. There is evolution in waiting in the hallway. So when the universe puts you on hold, has you sit your butt down in the hallway and ask you to take a seat, please don't get pissed. Even though we all kind of do that when we feel anxious and we're like, okay, I got to figure out next steps. I got to figure out what I'm supposed to do next. I can't sit still because being makes me uncomfortable. Spirit's like, no, dude. You got to get used to the being because that's the only way to have. No one likes to be told to wait in line or wait when they're hungry or when they're thirsty or when they want something, or to watch their clock for their turn. But you don't have control over that when it comes to how the universe works. This is a lesson that you have to try to accept. Waiting is necessary so that you can align with what matters, and it gives the universe time. The universe will take the time, regardless of whether you allow it, to assemble all of the necessary pieces of your divine life story, the next steps, so that it all fits together in the exact right way for you. The universe is not against you. It is for you. So learn to be in that hallway. Learn to take the opportunity to deal with your shit, to learn, to understand why people came into your life, why you repeat a pattern, why you suffered with grief and loss, who you are. So please try not to mind the wait. It will be worth it. I wish you a blessed day, a wonderful week, and as always, live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend, and be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.